Hi, everybody. Before we get to another great interview, the Two Opinionated podcast could really use your help. And it's easy, it's free. IMDb, which is the entertainment database, imdb.com, named us a top 100 podcast. We came in at number 82. That's a big deal because there's 15 million podcasts and growing. So to be named to anybody's top 100 list, pretty big deal for us. And the way you can help is to go to imdb.com, look up the Two Opinionated podcast, and that's it. Just bringing our page up. That traffic really helps us out. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. All we ask is that you subscribe. It's also free, but that really helps us to attract these amazing guests that we keep bringing on the program. And that's it. Two easy ways for you to support us, and we would really appreciate the help. Now let's get to that interview. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Two Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I've got actor and musician Max Parker with me. So welcome, Max.
Thank you so much for having me, Michael.
You know, I'll start this way. Your voice is incredible. We spent the weekend listening to you. My wife works for Live Nation, so she's always listening to music. So you're on her Spotify now, so we listen to you all weekend. But what a voice! You're very talented.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much. Appreciate that.
Well, so let's start there, Max. Tell me a little bit about kind of what got you into music, and was it always the plan to transition to acting, or did that just happen to come up? Kind of go through that.
Yeah, so the way things kind of started was very interesting. I mean, I picked up my first guitar when I was 10, and that was very impromptu, It's one of those things I was just, with my parent, and my parent was actually more curious than I was. And it just led down a certain path. I felt natural playing the guitar, started singing while playing, and that very much intrigued me, and I really started falling in love with
Did
it.
you take lessons at that point, or were you just kind of figuring it out?
So I started taking lessons, and my coach really kind of my teacher really like saw that just the way I held it right away. Just it to him, he was like, wow, like this, like you got to keep doing this because
Well,
it's
yeah, you're
totally.
just born with that. That's just talent.
Thank you. But yeah, it was just something that kind of just came more naturally to me. And I thought maybe it was a sign, and I thought I'd follow it, and it was something that definitely piqued my interest at the time. Mind you, I am athletic, and I was playing a lot of sports like hockey when I was younger. But the music was something I was always drawn
That's a
to.
lot, though. Like
Yeah,
like as a teenager, if you're involved in a lot of sports and you're musical, you're busy.
and it was busy. Yeah, I'd be like on my scooter going to my weekly, guitar lessons, and then I'd have like hockey 2 times a week, and that's just the way it was. Like, after elementary school, after
Yeah.
elementary school
What did
for
I
me.
see? You played some tennis too.
Yeah, tennis as well. I learned to play tennis when I was like 4 or 5 years old. My dad got me on the court really young, so yeah. I was very immersed in a lot of different things, but the music really kind of speak to me, maybe more spiritually or just more
Yeah.
on a level that kind of made me feel warm inside, if that makes sense. And so I followed that. Next thing you know, I'm playing open mics, as I grow up, 14, 15, and I start to get into that and playing in front of a live audience.
Yeah.
First few times, I'm nervous, but, I get used to it. And then, I started playing a lot of the festivals here in Toronto, like, Canadian Music Week and Indie Week. I kind of found a band that I could play with and as like a solo artist. And as things kind of kept moving, I started recording professionally
Okay.
and making songs and released my first single in 2018 called Out of the Blue. And since then, I've made an album that I released in 2021 called 17. And, the journey for music has always been something that I have fallen in love with time and time again. And it's kind of led me and prepared me actually for the film because this film is a feature film musical. So
Right. Right. So it's Juliet and Romeo this time.
yes,
You reversed
yes,
it.
Yeah, and the doing the music in tandem with the acting really helped me to honestly land this role for this film. They wanted me to sing two songs as part of the audition, and
Yeah.
I felt like that was actually my strong suit. But I had been taking this is where it gets kind of interesting because I was immersed in so many different things, right? So I started kind of getting into theater as well because I had to. There was a specific high school that I wanted to get into,
Yeah.
and it was an arts-based high school. And the only way I could get into it, because I was out of district, was to utilize an art form to actually get into the school.
Right.
And we had to pick which art form we wanted to kind of get into. And I realized that because they taught music classically at the school, that was something I wasn't really uh,
Right.
tuned to, and I was like, I'm more of like just a person who wants to, learn my favorite songs.
That's right.
Um, so that wasn't for me, but I was trying to find a way to get into the school, and there was an option for theater and dramatic arts.
Yep.
And I had never ever like memorized a monologue or memorized lines.
Really.
And
That was like your
that was
first
my
thing.
first go at this, and it was to audition to get into my high school. And I remember like spending nights memorizing this monologue to prepare to come in and perform in front of the teachers
Yeah.
at the school. And I remember just having such a fantastic audition, the butterflies in me, the same things I felt doing the open mics and doing all the shows that had that same feeling in me that made me warm and made me realize like I'm in the right place. Like it feels like I'm doing what I'm
But
supposed to.
you had like butterflies or nerves or whatever, but in a good way.
Yeah, yeah, it was a good feeling, Like obviously, I think any artist gets nervous before a show or
Sure.
before like a play or filming something or whatever it is. But I think, that nervousness usually tends to turn into like a type of energy that you can use to further play the part or just like kind of build off your persona on stage. So I think that's what worked for me, and I just kept on following that. So I had a theater background through high school,
Yeah.
and so that was going on at the same time as I was doing music outside of high school. And so both of these things were just like interests that were piquing me. And I was still on like the high school like volleyball team
Yeah, I was gonna say I would. Yeah, you
um,
couldn't have had any downtime.
no, there wasn't any downtime really. I was just a very athletic guy, and I was just into the arts
Yeah.
a lot. And
Was it a smaller school or pretty
it
good
was
size?
it was a pretty good sized school.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they had like a
I know sometimes in the smaller schools, if you're athletic, you kind of have to play every sport because they don't have enough.
Yeah, true. That's a valid point. Yeah, our school had like 1,000 students
Oh yeah,
almost,
pretty good
so
size. Yeah.
pretty good size. And the sports teams, I guess, were fairly competitive. But yeah, no, it was just
We my wife when she went back for her I don't know 20-year reunion maybe in 10-year when we first got together, and she came from her graduating class was maybe 100 or something like that. So they had a whole weekend where they brought the class in, and she played in the girls basketball alumni game.
cool.
She did the jazz band for the boys alumni basketball game. She played in the softball game. You know,
Whoa.
she was in the parade, and then she played something else in that. And I was just like,
Wow.
did they not have anybody else in that
Yeah.
school?
That's impressive though. Wow, that's impressive.
Well, and she's very really talented with
Yeah.
that. But she'll be like, well, they didn't have anybody.
Yeah. She'll downplay it a little bit,
She'll
but
downplay.
you got to give her the credit, you know?
Yeah, I know. I've seen that. She's talented, but that's what I told her. I was like, you'd have been doing that in other schools. It just so happened that they were short on people in this one. That didn't take away from the talent you had.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So okay. So tell me a little bit about Juliet and Romeo. You've once you said this is what I want to do, how did you go about landing this role?
Yeah,
So
so
this kind of your first like on screen credit?
yeah, this is my first big on-screen credit. Yeah, and I'm as someone who has kind of really just been thrown into this in the best way.
Yeah.
I realize how fortunate I am to even be in a movie like this as my
Well, it
first
doesn't
credit.
usually happen that way. You don't usually
No,
hit the big one in your first one.
no, and I think that's why it really comes back to having the music background. I
Yeah.
think that that really was just a major stepping stone that had prepared me for my audition.
Well,
Because
it had to calm you down a little bit, knowing you could sing.
yes,
You can sing the songs for it. So that probably helped you with your acting because it relaxes you.
totally.
Yeah.
And my agent Jessica is so supportive too. I was with her for about a few months before we had auditioned for this film.
Yeah.
And she gave me such great advice. She said, treat the sides and what you're reading for, the audition scenes like you would memorizing lyrics to a song.
Well, I like that.
Treat it as if like there are like actual beats, which there are,
Yeah.
and phrases and stuff, and ways to make it lyrical and melodical in your own way. And that was something that really like caught my ear, and I remember going, wow, like I can't believe no one else really had told me. I had immense training through high school and even through like a couple of years of university
Yeah.
abroad, just an hour out from Toronto doing theater. But no one had ever said that to me ever in terms of like relating it to the music. And when I heard that advice, it became a lot easier to
I've
understand.
never heard anybody say that, but it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's something that helped me, and my agent is just such a blessing. Like I'm
Yeah.
so grateful to have her in my corner, and I owe a lot of the success off the film to her, and have her help me get into this film. So yeah, it's she fights for me a lot, and but the singing was really, I think, what sold, the casting director and the director of our film, Timothy, Scott Bogart. And it was kind of just we were up and running from there. And it was a total shock to me, but it was the best news I could have ever gotten. And I remember being in LA recording music actually, and like finding out the news. So I was just like
Amazing.
so thrilled about it. It was just
Were you able to go back and finish recording, or did that mess you up? You have to call it
no.
for the day.
No, no, no. It didn't mess up my recording. I think it just gave me more confidence, really.
Yeah.
Because I was with my agent for a while at that point, and I remember just gaining a lot more confidence and being like, okay, I guess I can do this too, and I'm on my way, if that
Right.
makes sense. I don't know where the path is going to take me
That's right.
in 5 years, 10 years. I have no idea where exactly I'm going to be, but I do know that I want to be a part of the entertainment industry, and you know, it's you really have to kind of remind yourself, like I
Yeah.
already am in the
You're
industry.
you're already in it.
So, those are important things to remember too, and just to practice gratitude and just to be grateful for whatever comes across the board. So,
Well, that'll just help you. I talk about that a lot. Most actors and musicians too, they get it.
yeah,
You can't really survive without fans.
yeah,
And as fans, we can be a lot.
yeah.
We can be, a little too much. But most actors and stuff are pretty patient with that. I mean, there's still a line there. You got to be. You don't want to cross over and interfere with somebody trying to relax or something like that. But that's only going to help you. Having that attitude because people are going to respond to that.
Totally.
I never understand the talented people that are terrible people persons.
Mm,
Because it has to be difficult
yeah,
for them because they're not getting you know that interaction necessarily.
yeah.
It's just their talent carrying them, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, I think, it's a combination of just having a good work ethic, knowing when your time is. I think
Yeah,
that's a very important thing to understand, and yeah, just practicing kindness. Like I learned that from my mom. She's taught me that ever since I was super young, and
that's good parenting.
yeah, yeah, my mom's been such like a fantastic mentor to me. She's not even in this business and in this industry, but she's just taught me like good ethics and
Yes.
good moral understanding, and I think
Well,
that's
and she's obviously supportive of what you're doing.
yeah, absolutely. And just the things she's taught me on that end has taken me really far. So that's as important as the work itself.
I absolutely.
Yeah.
So tell me about Juliet and Romeo. What makes this one different from other versions?
Yeah, so this one, this one's like kind of like the first like feature film musical. Like this soundtrack is fantastic. These are like original pop songs that are
Cool.
going to be part of this soundtrack.
Are they is it more a modernized version, or is it still taking place, back in medieval times?
Yeah, so it takes place in 1301,
Yeah.
but the songs are modern. So
Oh, I like that.
we have this little twist. So everything visually is set in the medieval time,
Yeah.
but we just have like the essence and the feelings and the nostalgia of like these pop records on top of this like historic narrative, which
Yeah.
I think is so fantastic.
How does the pop music pair with Shakespeare?
It honestly, let me tell you, it's fantastic. I mean, I've seen like the cast and I have seen the film like off a screener link, and so
Oh, great.
we've already seen it, and it's just it's very warm and it's very family friendly too, I will say. You can take your kids to go see this movie.
Oh,
It's
that's
just a
great.
feel good, you know what I mean? And I think there is, like I said, nostalgia before, but there is a certain sense of nostalgia that you feel with this movie,
Yeah.
not just because of, the classic Romeo and Juliet story, but because of the way like just the songs pull your heart, like it really pulls at your heartstrings, and you can see like the love. You can see the love not just between Romeo and Juliet, but between like so many different characters.
Who wrote the music for it?
So Tim's brother Evan,
Oh,
Evan K. Bogart wrote
yeah.
most of the songs, and he's written like "Halo" by Beyonce. He's got like a whole bunch of records that are hits out there.
Yeah, he's
So
legit.
yeah, he's like a pop hit maker. So we've got like hit songs on the soundtrack, and let me tell you, like
Amazing.
it's beautiful, absolutely stunning. And I lend my voice on a couple of the songs as well. And I think we have one song that came out today called "The Mask I Wear," so that should be somewhere. I'll send you a link if
Oh
I
yeah,
can.
send me a link. I'll check that out. That's so exciting.
But yeah,
It
it's
sounds. What was the cast pretty close?
Yeah, I mean there were so many of us, right?
Yeah.
Because there was just so many main characters in this film. But yeah, so many of us were close. I mean, we moved from hotel to hotel. Like we did 1 week in Verona shooting, and then we went to Parma, which was a little bit northern Italy, and
Yeah.
then Salsa Maggiore. So we were in like these like smaller towns sometimes, and
Well, that's
you
kind of
know,
great though. You get to see the world a
yeah,
little bit.
yeah, very close knit, and then the food in Italy was fantastic, but it ended up being different when we would go from region to region. So that
Really?
was so very interesting to kind of,
Yeah, you'd
wrap.
assume most of Italy would have similar food.
Yeah, but like the Parmesan cheese, for example, was great in Parma because they're known for that, and so like you could kind of like taste the difference and really like kind of
Oh,
like
that's
get
interesting.
immersed in the culture, which I think is really cool. And I'm part Italian. My mom's Italian, so
Yep.
I was able to stay with my family
Oh,
during.
really? So you got
Yeah.
relatives over there?
Yeah, yeah. So I've got relatives in Colabricioni, which is like a small town near
Yeah.
L'Aquila, which is just like an hour away from Rome. And we
I
shot.
actually know that town, and
Really?
yeah, I've never been there. I've never been there, but I've got a friend of mine. We've been friends for 50 some years. Our parents were friends, so we were around each other as kids. So we've grown up. But his wife has family in that village, and they just found out like a few years ago, and they went over and met them for the first time. He was
Wow.
55 years old, and he didn't even know. And then yeah, so
That's
they loved it. They've been back 3 or 4 times since then.
Yeah,
Absolutely
it's
love it
it's
over there.
it's beautiful. Yeah, I mean L'Aquila is incredible. It's such a great place. They did unfortunately have an earthquake there a few years ago.
I
I
heard
remember.
that. Yeah.
But they're rebuilding, and it's such a great spot. And yeah, it's great I have family there because I was able to stay with them.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean,
For
that has to, like, at the end of the day, you're exhausted. You got to come back tomorrow. I mean, to be able to go to some,
Yeah,
family, that's awesome.
Yeah, like I was only able to stay with them for Christmas break because we were in certain regions in
Yeah.
Italy shooting. But yeah, just that Christmas specifically that year in 2022 was like the most beautiful experience ever. We filmed this movie like I think a couple years ago now, so it's been a while, and we have
What do you think about that? Because music's a little bit like that. It takes a while to
yeah.
get it to come out. Was that difficult, that waiting period? Because I think I'd have trouble with that. I'm like, I want people to see it.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of answered the question already. Like, I think for being a musician, it actually prepared me
Yeah,
to be able to be patient enough
to
to
be
wait
patient.
for
Yeah,
them to come out because sometimes the music does take long to come out, like you said, just to get all the ducks in a row to make
right.
sure everything's set up properly. But we did have the SAG-AFTRA strike about a year ago, I think, like or no, in 2023.
That's right.
So,
Yeah,
so that took a while, and I remember there were a lot of things that got delayed on our end for the film.
yeah.
We couldn't even work on the film because we weren't allowed to.
That's right. I know. I know.
So
Yeah,
it's
that was a weird year because you had that writer's strike before that.
yeah, and like I couldn't even audition for anything either. So it was just like the acting took such a halt. Like, and thank God we had finished our film
That's right.
before the strike. So things were kind of up in the air at that point, and I had no idea what was going to happen. My agent just told me like make as much music as you can. So I actually spent 2023 making a lot of music on my end. I produce my own music now.
Yeah,
I've had a lot of experience with like A-list producers in Toronto and Montreal here in
yeah.
Canada, and I've learned a lot from them. So on the music side, it's great because if something's not happening on the acting side, I've always got the music. I've always got like my creation and
Well, is
like
that are you're putting it all together? Is that you releasing it? Like you
yeah.
releasing it
So
yourself?
yeah, so I released a single last year called Rush in June,
Yeah,
and
we love that one. Very good.
oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I'm hoping to release another single probably in the summer after all the movie craziness kind of
Yeah.
goes up.
What a
And
great year though. New music. I mean, that's a good year.
thank you. Yeah. So I'm trying to make the best of it. So I think releasing something in the summer would be a great idea and kind of gearing up for that and
Yeah.
I'm kind of creating like a little bit of an album on my own. So I'm really excited to see kind of where things lead. And I'm still in university as well. I don't know.
I
It's
was going to ask you if you're still in school. That's so much.
yeah, I'm still in university. I just finished my winter semester like 3 weeks ago. Had in-person.
How did that work with filming?
The timing was just
So it was
beautiful.
like
So
summer when you
it
were
was,
off.
yeah, it was just, it just worked out so beautifully. This whole semester I was just like kind of working on getting everything handed in. And literally, my PR campaign really just like started like 2 weeks after I had exams. So it was just,
Amazing. You
everything
just
just
meant to be.
it was meant to be, honestly. I have a couple spring courses in May I got to do, and then one more year to just wrap it up and complete my undergraduate degree. But it seems like things are kind of working. When I'm not doing one thing, it feels like I'm just doing the other, and I'm just trying to get everything
I,
done.
I mean, that's awesome. And that's you have to do that when you're young because that's when you have the
Yeah.
energy to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's totally right. So I've just been really blessed with how I guess the universe has just had
Yeah.
things kind of work out for me, and I'm just I'm following what I'm drawn to, if that makes sense. So I'm
Oh
just
yeah, completely,
yeah,
and good for you. Because it's hard enough to find the things that you love, and it's
yeah.
even harder to figure out a way to make a living off of
Yeah,
them.
absolutely. Yeah, and I'm still figuring that out at my age. I do know I want to be in this entertainment industry and I know I'm going to work as hard as I can to be in it and to be in it as long as I can. So,
Awesome.
yeah, that's the dream and I hope to keep it going.
Yeah, yeah. I think you will. I mean, I haven't seen you act yet, but I can attest that you're an excellent singer. So yeah, I'm
Thank
sure your acting is terrific as well. So what's your role in the film?
Yeah, so I play Benvolio in this film. I'm Romeo's cousin and first-hand man. And
That seems like that'd be a fun role to play.
it is, yeah, because it's not daunting because I'm not playing Romeo.
Right.
But it's good enough to kind of, be in the mix
For your first role to be, I mean, you're a supporting character, but like an important supporting character. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. The responsibility of Benvolio is something that I really had to kind of make sure I played right for this
Yeah.
one. The way Tim wrote Benvolio for this was a very like it was like a mix of like just like a cautious trait,
Yeah.
because he is the peacekeeper and he wants to make sure that nothing
That's
happens.
right.
That's the role of Benvolio, but kind of having this mix of being cautious and being outwardly cautious to Romeo and everyone, but also having so much inner turmoil and thinking that the way things unfold are his fault. And I think there a lot of my acting for this on screen was not even just the lines I had, but the facial expressions and the way I would compose myself, to show that there was just so much so much tearing up inside of him
Love
because
that. That's like advanced acting. If you're able to convey emotion and stuff without saying anything, that's good.
yeah, so I have a scene with Romeo in this film, and I'm just so excited for people to watch, how I've contributed
Yeah.
to the film, but for them to see everything and how every piece connects because our narrative is a little different. It varies a little, and I can't touch on that too much, but I think it will really pay off for viewers. And I think every single person's incorporation in this film really matters in terms of their character and the way they play into this whole puzzle. I think it's really important.
I don't know.
So
I'm getting pretty excited to watch it.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
it comes out on the 9th of May. Is that right?
yeah. It comes out
Yeah.
May 9th.
That's soon. We're a few weeks
Yeah,
away.
yeah. About I think it's like 3 weeks now. So we're
Yeah.
we're we're getting there. And we're really underway. Some of the songs are already coming out now, and so yeah, I'm just super excited. My castmates are excited as well, and uh,
Are you in a group chat with any of the cast?
we have a major group chat. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie, it hasn't been used as of late because we've all been doing our own
Yeah,
like here.
you're waiting right now.
Yeah, we're all waiting and we're doing our own interviews and stuff across the world because like I'm in Toronto and I have my castmates Martina and Dennis also here with me in Canada. And then we have Zach who's in Vancouver, and then we've got like Nick who's shooting a film in Budapest. He played our Mercutio. We've got like Jamie, our Romeo, who's in the UK. Rebel Wilson's in
You're
the
all
UK.
over the place.
We're all over the place. So, everyone's doing
Oh,
their
that's right. Yeah, Rebel Wilson is in that.
yeah,
Yeah,
Rebel
yeah.
Wilson, Jason Isaacs. I don't know if you've seen The White
Love.
Lotus.
Oh my gosh, he is amazing. White Lotus.
Yeah, yeah,
And I love. Yeah, I'm a nerdy guy. He was first season of Star Trek Discovery. He was the captain on the ship, and he was awesome in that too.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what a cast. Can Jason sing?
Uh, so I don't know if I'm allowed to spoil this or not. So maybe like I'm sure he can sing. That's what I will answer.
Okay, okay. That's fair. That's
I'm
fair.
sure I'm sure he
We'll
can.
find out.
Fun fact though, we did play tennis together when we were in Salsa Maggiore, which I think was really cool. We
Yeah.
were just in the makeup trailer one day, and he was asking around because he loves to play tennis. This guy loves
Really?
tennis, and we were just talking about how I was into sports when I was younger, and I played tennis, and he was asking around. He was like, "Does anyone play tennis? Like, I need someone to play tennis with. Like, there's like the bubble nearby," and I was like, "I play tennis." This was like the first time I ever met him. We were in the makeup trailer and we ended up just playing tennis. And I told him because I used to teach tennis at the Boulevard Club near here in Toronto.
Yeah.
And I told him I used to play tennis and everything. And I was so excited to go play tennis with him. And I realized how good this guy was.
But yeah, that's what I was going to ask. How good is he?
He smoked me, and I was so embarrassed because it had been like a couple of years since I had played, right? So I was pretty rusty. I had to like kind of shake the rust off of me, but
Yeah.
he was incredible, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, I shouldn't have told him everything about me playing tennis because now I look like a fool."
Yeah, but if you're going to get embarrassed, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but it makes for a great story,
That's right.
That's something I'm always excited to tell people is like Jason Isaacs just schooled me playing tennis. Yeah.
At what point do you start practicing and then challenge him to the rematch?
Oh, geez, I have no idea. I mean, Tim hopes that this is going to be a trilogy. We hope there's two
Oh,
more.
really?
part of this. Yeah. So if that happens and Jason's back and I'm back, like I hope we can do a rematch, or at least I could just challenge him to, win a couple points off him. But he's too good, man. He was just playing at like the Rafael Nadal Academy, I think,
Oh,
as
really?
part of his PR for White Lotus. So I've been seeing his posts and I'm like, dang, this guy's just getting better. I don't know if I could ever beat him. No
I
way.
think I think that had to be the craziest White Lotus season yet.
Craziest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they've all been a little crazy, but that one, whoo, is all over the place.
Yeah, Walton Goggins was incredible.
Amazing.
Oh my
Everything he
God,
does is amazing.
so good. Yeah, what a great season. Yeah, I loved
Yeah.
it.
Do you play any instruments besides guitar?
Besides guitar, I'm a little versed on like the synth over here.
Yeah.
Um, a little bit of piano, like not much. I'm still kind of dabbling. I really am a vocalist though after playing guitar. Like that's something that I'm very much that's like
That's
my
what you do.
number one skill. Yeah, I guess you could say the ukulele, any stringed instrument really. I play the bass as well. If you can play
Oh
the
yeah.
guitar, it's kind of easy to kind of.
Yeah, my stepson's like that. He started with drums and then went to
Cool.
guitar. And he can basically, if you give him a few minutes, he can figure it out, whatever the instrument is. He
Yeah.
can play it. So it was he joined the drum corps when he was in high school, and they had too many drummers. So
Oh,
they asked him if he could play trumpet, and he'd never played, but he took it home with him, and he came back next day and played it. It's just
wow.
I know I'm just that type of musician just amazes me.
That takes some serious
Takes some
skill.
skill. I
I
know.
remember, yeah, I remember being in like grade 7 band class because we
Yeah.
had band class in elementary, and I remember trying to, I think, play the trombone or the trumpet one time because we were at that point we were trying to figure out what
Yeah, you're
instrument.
trying to figure out what you're gonna play. Yeah.
I think I remember I ended up playing the drums, but I remember trying the trumpet before the drums, and I was just like, "There's no way I could do this. No
Takes so
way."
much air.
Yeah, and you have to like hold your mouth a certain way too to even like get it right.
Yeah, I
And
bet you it makes your jaw and mouth and everything sore.
yeah, it's such a technical thing. And then I have massive respect for like violin players because that's like one of the hardest instruments. But
I
yeah,
always laugh because it like in our family, most of the family's musical. I am not, but most of the family is. And at
yeah,
some point, they all tried violin, and it never lasted. It's
yeah,
very difficult to play.
yeah, it's so tough. I mean, I haven't even held one. Like I don't even think I could try. Like it's just
Yeah,
it's a tough one.
I
But yeah,
love listening to them.
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
But yeah, I could not play. So where do you go from here? So you got the first big one under your belt. Are you still trying to find more film work? Do you or are you interested in TV as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Both film and TV, I'd say. I've been these past few weeks have been crazy for auditions, actually. So it's just been in like mayhem, and the timing again is perfect. I've been off school and I've had these weeks to just like focus on the
Yeah,
PR for the film and just talking about the
that's
film,
awesome.
also just auditioning. So yeah, there's just been so much on the fly and yeah, like a few callbacks. Like I've gotten a couple callbacks for some major things. So my agent and I are just we're always like on to the next. That's like our motto. Like we're always kind of like plugging away and
Yeah, go go go.
you go go go. And there's signs here and there. When you get a callback, it means you're doing the right thing. And
Right.
that's the name of the game. I think I remember Mark Ruffalo in an interview saying like he had done like 1,000 auditions before he had even like landed something. I think I see the Hulk in the back there
He's
behind me.
back here. Yep.
Yeah. So that's the name of the game, and I think I'm really just trying to stick to that and stick to that mindset of just getting the reps in, because I got so lucky and I was so fortunate with this first big one, but I want to make sure that I'm keeping my game good and that I'm putting my all into every audition. So
Well, you've got the
that's
right attitude for it.
yeah,
'Cause and I think you're doing it right. Try everything now.
exactly.
As you go along in your career, you can kind of fine tune it, pick the
Oh,
the stuff you really want to do. But
totally. Yeah,
you get
and
out there now. Get
yeah, and
practice.
and with my voice too, it's kind of easy, kind of being so used to being on the mic. Like I'm doing a lot of voiceover stuff as well, which is also a very great avenue in acting.
I was
Could
going to ask you if you were doing some voice work because, yeah, with your vocal talents, you should be able to get some work that way.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure if you know Tim Hortons here in Canada, but I had like a Tim Hortons voiceover stint here last year for their like summer camp day
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
July.
we've got a Tim Hortons about the block from where I'm at right now. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're making their way.
I think two or three of my
Yeah,
kids work there at some point.
yeah, yeah. So I did some voiceover work for them last year, and I'm currently on hold for another voiceover right now. So things are
That's
looking
awesome.
up, and yeah, just
Have you tried out for like any animation, anything like that?
yeah, animation. I've done a few animation auditions. I
Yeah.
haven't heard back from any, but it's always cool to like try and like
Well,
alter
yeah,
my voice and see what works and what doesn't. I think it's always fun exploring, you know what I mean? So,
absolutely.
yeah.
I have a really good acting friend, and she lived next to Mark Ruffalo when they were both just starting out in acting, and
Wow.
she did a episode, maybe two episodes of Home Improvement. So this has been 30 years ago, and she was pregnant at the time. That's so she kind of hid it while she was on screen. Well, she had that baby, and she was a single mom, and Mark Ruffalo would babysit for her all the time.
Wow.
This was before he hit big too. So,
Wow, that's so cool.
so I was like, so her son uh, can tell people that he used to get babysitted by Mark Ruffalo. I think
That's so
that's kind of cool.
yeah,
I
that's
mean, he
really
doesn't know. He doesn't remember anything about it, but
yeah.
that's a pretty good story anyway.
Yeah. That's awesome.
What's so on the music front?
Yeah.
You talk about releasing new music. Is it going to be similar to your past work? Or, are you trying a different genre, or is it still in the in kind of the pop realm?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I remember when I was working on my debut album, I remember my team, telling me like, look, like, you're gonna release this album and things are gonna sound so different when you
Yeah,
make your next album. And for a lot of the times I wouldn't believe them. I'd be like, well, I'm gonna make pop music. Like, this is what I'm gonna do.
that's
But
right.
things have really changed. I don't know if you know the band In Excess, but I'm very
Oh yeah, of
inspired
course.
by like pop rock bands.
Yeah.
And so I'm really getting into that and just like screwing around with my guitar, my electric guitar a lot more now. I used to be heavy on acoustic, and I used to
Oh
be
yeah.
really inspired by like Ed Sheeran and John Mayer and that type of stuff. But now I'm kind of getting into a
I
little bit
kind of
more of a rock edge now.
Yeah, I
So
kind of like that because NXS was. I mean, they were awesome back in
yeah,
the day. That was
yeah, they
that's not a terrible sound
yeah.
to go into.
Yeah, so I'm very inspired by that genre, and I want to dabble in that a little bit. And I find that in producing a lot of my own songs here and really kind of making a lot of my own tracks in
Yeah.
2023 when I came back from the film, I did a lot of experimentation, and that's kind of what led me to kind of get into that genre. And I'm really grateful I had the time to kind of experiment and
Yeah,
just breathe and really sit with myself and figure out like what do I like?
that's right.
What guitar lines do I like? What songs do I love that I normally listen to?
Well, where do you sound best at?
Yeah, and what parts of those songs do I am I really attuned to, Like even Sultans of Swing, like there's just certain songs that I love, and if I could incorporate like different things and different genres into what I want to do, I think that'll kind of make me stand out a little bit more and really bring in the authenticity a lot more too. So,
Yeah, I agree. Well, and it's your music to me seems a little poppy, and I'm kind of a fan of pop music,
yeah.
um, but it also seems kind of unique. So you've got a little there. And I'm not musical enough to tell you why, but there's something about it that's a little different, and I like that.
Thank
You know,
you.
I can't dance, but it had me swaying a little bit on some of them. That's my version of dancing. I can tell you that we had my granddaughter over, and she was bouncing around to some of them.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
Oh,
now
that's
she
great.
can dance, but yeah, I'll leave that to her.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the stuff, even Rush, the song I released last year, it still had a pop vibe to it. But I,
Yeah,
I really think that things are just going to get a little bit more like angstier, but in a good way, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Just a little bit more, turning up the distortion just a
That's right.
little more, you know what I mean? But not too much, you know. I think that's where I'm kind of heading, and I'm always thinking about what I'm writing about too. I think that's really important. I think a lot of the pop songs I released in my debut album were about love, and sometimes about love that I actually haven't even experienced yet. So
Right.
I'm trying to honestly just like write about the things that I'm experiencing now, and even the things that I might have experienced on film, like on set, like doing the film. So I'm trying to incorporate all that into my music now. So I think there will be a level of maturity that will kind of show its way into the songs that I'm going to be releasing really soon. So
Well,
I'm
that's
really
kind of exciting, and that's the way it should progress.
yeah,
As you get older. When you were first starting to release music, that there's a difference in like me. I'm 55.
yeah,
Me aging to 60, not a lot of difference. But if you're 15 and then you look at yourself at 19 or 20, that's a huge difference.
huge difference. Yeah, yeah, you're learning and growing at that
Yeah,
age, and I think we're all learning and growing like at whatever age we are. But I think yeah, in those like early informative years,
yeah. It
it's
makes a big difference, and I think that would be kind of neat because you started so early.
yeah.
Especially 20, 30 years from now when you're making music and you can look back at what you did, as a teenager. I think there'll be a big difference, but they'll both be great. It'll just be different because you're at different points in your life.
Totally, 100%. That's so true. Yeah, I think the experiences really shape like who we are as humans, and you know, the next project is never going to sound the exact same from the previous. So
Are
that's
you, yeah, I know you're doing some voice stuff. Are you trying out for roles where there's, it's just acting, no singing?
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So many. There's most of my auditions
I
are that.
assumed. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm heading in, to studios to tape, professionally, and I'm getting stuff done. And
Yeah. Yeah.
there's been, I mean, I can't obviously say what I'm auditioning for, but there's been some really awesome things that have
Good. That's
come
good.
up.
Do you have, like, is there a genre that you're kind of interested in?
I feel, well, here's the thing, like because I'm a musician, and it's worked out for a lot of like musicians who are also actors.
Yeah.
um, they usually tend to like land like a role in like a teen show on Netflix, or
Yes.
even as like a supporting role, or just as a role that kind of gets them eyes, and usually that helps them in tandem with like their band if they have a band
Right.
on the side, and both of those things just end up kind of helping each other out.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the like the motive, and what my agent and I are kind of looking at is, getting as many hits as possible on the TV and film side, and then as much just like keeping the music going, because music is my number one passion. Like that's something that I started out on, and something that I don't ever want to drop. So
You
as long
need
as
your own version of like one of the Disney shows or
yeah,
Nickelodeon show back in the day. Where
yeah.
it's you're acting, but you're like acting that you're a musician.
Yeah, yeah, like kind of like acting as if like I'm just me, but like I'm on a show, or
That's
but
right. That's right. I mean,
yeah,
that's kind of their formula, right? They did that with all kinds of actors that can sing.
yeah, totally. And so yeah, I mean, the acting has really just been it's I've just been really reading the signs from acting.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you kind of have to sit back and really listen at what the universe is kind of telling you. And right now, like it's the acting, like, and that's on the front burner because I feel like things are really budding there for me, and I
Well, yeah, you don't want to step away from it just when they're starting to click.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And so the music's always going to be there, and I'm always working on the music behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But it feels like acting is a little bit more structured. If you land something, and then
Yeah.
there are certain things that are taken care of
That's
for
right.
you. Whereas for music, you kind of have to be like eight different
Everything. Yeah.
so that's something that I'm still trying to like, figure out and work on, and understand like the process and the methodologies of it all. But I think I'm kind of starting to come closer to how I can kind of make that all work out. But I do want to be a musician and an actor.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And you should be. You should be. Is there, when you do get back to releasing new music, any plans to do any touring or to play live anywhere?
Yeah, so I'm actually playing North by Northeast this year
Oh,
in
really? Like
yeah.
in
Uh,
Austin?
no, not in Austin. Here in Toronto,
Oh,
North
okay,
by
in Toronto.
Northeast.
Okay, yeah.
And
Well,
yeah,
yeah, I think you said north by northeast. I think it's north by northwest in Austin. So yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll be playing that festival here in June in Toronto, and I'm so grateful to live in Toronto because it's I just zip right downtown with my band and we just go play, and
Well, it's a
it's just
great music town.
yeah, it's fantastic. So I love playing here every year. I there's a venue called the Horseshoe Tavern that like so many amazing talents have played at, like the
Yeah.
Rolling Stones.
Oh wow.
Like Jared Leto has played there.
Oh, those guys.
Yeah.
Jared Leto, surprisingly good singer.
Yeah.
I think I saw him a couple times in concert. He was touring with Incubus
Okay, cool. Yeah.
years ago, and his band was playing. He's really, I mean, that's kind of the goal, right? Is to be awesome at music and at acting. I mean, he does that.
Yeah, yeah, he's a little bit of an inspiration for me for sure. Like, I think he I feel has mastered like doing acting, having his acting moments, and
Yeah.
then going on tour with his brother,
Yeah.
30 Seconds to Mars, and they have fans, like they have like super diehard fans, and I think it's just so awesome that they have fans on both. He has both fans like in the acting realm, and he has
Well,
fans.
yeah, there's music fans of his that may not even know that he acts.
Yes, that's true. And I saw him at Budweiser stage, I think last year, and he's got such a stage presence, and it makes
Oh,
sense
he does.
because you do have to have a presence as an actor on screen. So, it just it that really gave me inspiration because I was like, man, like I really want to do this, I really want to be able to like have a presence on screen and also have a presence on stage because, I love being on stage
Right.
and I've had this experience in Juliet and Romeo already being on film. So, I want to be able to kind of make that happen.
I think
So,
I've come up with your Hallmark movie. I've been
yeah.
working on that while we're talking. But that's so you're in a small town. You move away to the big city because you want to, make it in the music industry. So
Yeah.
you leave the small town. Maybe you had a love interest that you left behind. You go to the big city, and something happens that damages your voice.
Oh,
So you're
man.
just on the verge of hitting it big. Maybe you had one hit song come out, you hurt your voice, strained or whatever, can't sing, and it just devastates you. So you kind of slink back home to the small town, and then you get back there, and it just so happens that there's a music teacher position open at the school, and
Ah,
and they're kind of in a bind. So you're miserable. You're just like, I don't want to do that. But then this love interest that you had, back in the day, she just happens to be the school principal. So she talks you into doing it. So then you're back, you're teaching kids. So you find your passion again in music because you're teaching the kids. And then, you have a little thing with the principal. Hallmark movie.
damn. I gotta pitch that to Hallmark
I
right
mean,
now.
there you go.
I feel like that's a shoe in, Michael.
I think so too. I think so too. Well, when you get it made, just maybe invite me to set. I'll
Oh yeah,
come
of
interview you
course.
on set.
I mean, it's your idea. We have to invite you to set.
Give me the little in the credits, just
And
special.
the credits. Yeah. That's amazing. That's awesome. I love
I
it.
mean, you're in Canada. At some point, you'll probably do a Hallmark movie.
Yeah, yeah, I've auditioned for a couple already,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's I feel like that's not too far away. I feel like there's something there for sure.
There's
Yeah.
something there. It's
Yeah.
like a rule. If you're in Canada, you have to have at least tried hockey.
Yeah. I
and,
have done
and if
that.
you're an actor, you have to be in a Hallmark movie. Like a
Yeah.
rule. I don't know who made them, but it's a rule.
Yeah. I didn't make the rules.
Well, Max, thank you for taking a little bit of time. This has been terrific. I can attest that your musical ability is top notch. I mean, you're outstanding. I think if you didn't act at all, you would still be a star at some point on the music side. I really believe that. Really
So
good.
much.
But I'm excited to see you as an actor. Just talking with you, I have no doubt that you're really good on that side too. So you're just getting started. I can't wait to see where you go next.
Oh, thank you so much, Michael. This was so much fun. Honestly, so cathartic to even like talk about the experiences with you and hang with you, man. You've got such a great energy, you know. I just I feel it through the screen, you know. It's fantastic.
I
So,
appreciate that so much. It comes from just loving what I'm doing.
yeah. And
You
I,
know,
I see that I see that fully. Yeah, that's incredible, man. Thank you so much for your
you're
time.
so welcome. Max, before I let you go, run through all your social media for me.
Yeah, so Instagram and Facebook are at Max Parker Official. So that's just Max Parker and Official.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and then we've got my YouTube channel, which is Max Parker Music. What else do we have? My
Yeah, I
TikTok.
spent some time on there this weekend.
My TikTok's also Max Parker Official as well.
Are you dancing on TikTok or is it just the singing and the acting?
I'm not gonna lie, Michael. I have done some
I
dancing
knew it. I had a
do
feeling.
do my own songs, I will say. When we were rolling out the album a couple years ago. But yeah, I kind of like to keep the dancing on the side now on my TikTok. But I am taking dancing lessons actually because I have been auditioning for Broadway stuff.
Oh, that's excellent.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, not so much dancing anymore on TikTok, but I used to, yeah.
I just had
But
a feeling.
yeah, yeah. As you know, I like to try everything,
Well,
so
yeah, why not? Why
yeah.
not? That's
Uh,
pretty awesome about Broadway. Yeah, keep me
yeah.
posted. If you end up in New York at some point, we'll run out there. We'll come. We can drive
Yeah.
to New York from here. It's about 8 hours. You know,
Yeah.
maybe we'll fly. It's about an hour flight, so maybe we'll fly.
I'll let you know if I get into
Yeah, yeah,
anything.
because we'll try to come out. We went and saw. I had a actress friend was doing a two woman play in New York, so we went out to see her, and then snuck in and saw Hamilton while we were.
Oh, cool.
Oh, so good.
Yeah,
So
it's
good. And of course, it's it's a different cast from the original, but they're just as good.
yeah, it's so good. Yeah.
There's so
Well,
many talented people there.
yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, like when I was in New York in November, and when I went, it was cold, but when I went, we saw a couple of Broadway shows. We saw The Outsiders,
Yeah.
and we also saw I don't know if was it Moulin Rouge. I don't remember, but The Outsiders was incredible. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I'd love to see that one.
So fun fact is the Cooperman brothers actually had done the choreography for the Outsiders show, and they also did choreography for our film. So we
Oh,
did some
really?
dancing. Yeah, we did some dancing in our film as well. I forgot to mention this, and yeah, the Cooperman brothers worked on us
That's awesome.
on that choreography with us for the film too. So that was something really cool, and that show was phenomenal. I mean, any Broadway show is incredible. So yeah.
Awesome, man.
I'm trying to think of other socials that I could give to you. Trying to think.
Thinking, did we miss any? Are you on Blue Sky? I guess we got that one.
I think I am on Blue Sky. It might be Max Burger Visual as well. I don't know. But I think I've named all the main ones. So
Yeah,
yeah, you can
yeah.
find me out there at Max Burger Official. And yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Man, Amara always sends me the best people, and I've been a big fan of yours. You know, when I started listening to music, unbelievable. Can't wait to see Juliet and Romeo, and it comes out May the 9th, so I don't have to wait too long.
Yeah, May the 9th. Yeah, and to anyone watching, get to the theaters May 9th. We'd love to see you there. This is going to theaters, so it's meant for the big screen. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, you got to see this one on the big screen.
on the big screen for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. My oldest, my daughter, loves musicals, and that's always been kind of our thing. So that's probably who I'm going with. Probably go with her.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I'll
Yeah.
let you know once I see it. I'll let you know.
Yeah, hit me up and tell me how
Yeah,
you
yeah, I
like
will. I will. Hey, Max, open invitation when you're ready. Just holler. We'll do it again.
Oh man, thank you so much. This is great. This is really
Yeah.
fun.
All right. I had the best time. I had the best time. Okay, hold on one second. I love talking with talented people, especially the young ones, because it's just fun, seeing the excitement, the energy when they're just starting out in their career, and they just they're so excited to just be getting going. It's I don't know, kind of inspires me. I really enjoy talking with the younger actors, musicians, and Max. He's still in college. And working his butt off out there. I mean, he's putting out music. He's doing movies. I mean, he's swamped. I that's the time, when I was in college, obviously I wasn't acting. I owned a comic book store at that time, so I ran my comic book store most of the time. I had my dad ran he was a school principal, and he ran a paper route uh, through the week. Well, on Sundays, I would go home and I'd be a substitute driver, and it'd take about 4 hours. And then in addition to that, I had a job at a local restaurant, just trying to make ends meet. I couldn't do any of that now, but at that time, even with the schoolwork and stuff, I didn't feel overwhelmed. It was okay. You got that kind of energy. I couldn't work 3 different jobs now. It'd be a disaster. So hope you enjoyed that. Max is such a great young man, talented. You got to wait a few weeks on Juliet and Romeo, but you can go listen to his music right now, and you should. You'll be adding it to your playlist. I guarantee. It's outstanding. I think his last album is called 17. If you want to look that up, every song I listened to on it, I really enjoyed. So definitely check that out. The movie is Juliet and Romeo. It comes out on May the 9th, and it's a musical. So if you're like me, like my daughter, if you love musicals, this one is probably for you. And the cast is terrific. I mean, it's loaded. So you've got to be pretty talented for your first acting role in a movie to be one of the main cast on a musical. I mean, that's not easy. So good for Max. I really, really impressed with him, and I'm sure you were as well. If you're finding us for the first time, I'm thrilled to death that you're here. I would love to have your support. It's easy to do. It's free. We'd never ask you for money, but we'll ask for your subscription. So our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Please subscribe. It really does help us out. Our website is meistercon.com. You can find 960 interviews on there, audio and video versions. We should hit episode 1000 either in June or July. So we're really excited about that. Not too many podcasts reach that number. So we're pretty excited about it. So check us out there, meistercon.com. Thank you guys so much. Until next time. Bye, everybody.